We often think intelligence is, all about book smarts, solving tough math problems, knowing trivia, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
traditional IQ.
Yeah. But what if there's another kind of intelligence? Something about really connecting with people, understanding feelings, navigating social stuff. What if that's the real key to, well, a happy life, success?
That's exactly the territory Daniel Goleman explores in his book, Social Intelligence.
And that's where we're headed today. We're doing a deep dive based on a really helpful YouTube summary of Goleman's audiobook.
Exactly. We're going to try and unpack the big ideas of social intelligence. Think of it as a shortcut to understanding this really, really crucial part of being human.
Right. So our mission today is pretty straightforward, but it feels important. Really get a handle on what social intelligence is and how it, affects basically everything, our relationships, work, even how we raise kids. Hopefully, by the end of this, you'll walk away with a clearer picture of human connection, its power, and maybe some things to think about for yourself. Okay, so where do we start? How about this idea that our brains are fundamentally wired for connection, not just isolated processors?
Yeah, that's a great starting point. It's fascinating how deep that wiring goes right from the get-go. Even those super early interactions, like a baby instinctively mirroring a parent's smile or just, two people making eye contact. These things aren't just small moments. They actually light up specific circuits in the brain. It's like we're built for social engagement.
Almost pre-programmed to connect. And this is where social intelligence fits in, right? It's like the companion to emotional intelligence.
Exactly. Emotional intelligence is more about knowing yourself, managing your own feelings. Social intelligence takes that outward. It's about navigating the emotional space between people.
So things like empathy, attunement.
Yes, empathy, attunement, being on the same wavelength, understanding where someone's coming from, building that rapport, all that stuff.
Okay. And biologically, how does that even work? You mentioned mirror neurons earlier.
Right. Mirror neurons are amazing. They're these brain cells that fire, not just when we do something, but also when we watch someone else do it. So they kind of mirror the other person's actions and even feelings in our own brain. It lets us get an almost instant sense of what they're experiencing. You know when you see someone stub their toe and you just, once.
Totally. You almost feel it.
That's your mirror neurons. It's a fundamental biological basis for empathy.
Wow. So it's like we have this invisible network, a kind of neural Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Constantly sending and receiving emotional signals.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, neural Wi-Fi. We're picking up on body language, tiny shifts in tone of voice, those fleeting facial expressions, micro expressions.
Things we don't even consciously register sometimes.
Exactly. Our brains are processing this huge stream of emotional data super fast, often below our conscious awareness.
So big picture, our brains are basically social organs.
Pretty much, yeah. We're not designed for isolation, and the quality of our relationships, it actually impacts our neurological health. Think about it. School, work, home, social intelligence isn't just nice to have. It's essential for thriving.
Okay, so brains wired for connection, social intelligence as the navigator. Empathy seems like the absolute core of this.
Yeah.
But you said it's not just one simple thing. It's more like a spectrum.
That's a really good way to think about it. Yeah, it's definitely a spectrum. It's not just an on-off switch. Goleman actually breaks it down into 3 different types or maybe layers.
Layers, yeah.
Emotional empathy, cognitive empathy, and empathic concern.
Okay, let's unpack those. Emotional empathy. That sounds like the gut level stuff. Feeling with someone.
Exactly. It's that raw instinctive resonance. You see someone crying, you feel a pang of sadness yourself, a friend's excited, you feel their buzz. That's emotional empathy. It's feeling with them, not just for them, which is more sympathy.
Ah, good distinction. Okay, then cognitive empathy. That sounds more analytical, like trying to figure out what's going on in their head.
Precisely. It's understanding their perspective, their thoughts, motivations, beliefs, seeing the world through their eyes, even if you don't feel the same emotions. Super useful for negotiators, leaders, anyone trying to understand different viewpoints.
Right. And the third one, empathic concern.
That takes it a step further. It's not just feeling or understanding, it's being moved to help. It's the driver of compassion. You understand their pain, maybe you feel it a bit, and that motivates you to actually do something about it.
Like helping someone who's fallen down.
Exactly. That impulse to help.
Makes sense how you'd need different mixes of these. A therapist probably needs all 3. A surgeon maybe leans more cognitive during an operation.
Right, needs that focus. And a teacher definitely needs that empathic concern to connect with kids.
But Goleman points out a potential downside too, doesn't he? That empathy can be selective.
Yeah, that's the tricky part. We tend to find it easier to empathize with people who are like us, similar background, beliefs. And that can create these empathy gaps where we struggle to connect with people who are different, which unfortunately can fuel prejudice and misunderstanding. So we need to consciously work on widening that circle.
Okay, so it's not just about feeling. It's also about paying close attention. Which brings us to social awareness and attunement. Reading the room, basically.
Exactly. Attunement is like that silent dance of connection, sensing the emotional tone, reading between the lines, aligning with someone's inner world.
So social awareness is more than just hearing words.
Oh, much more. It's perceiving the feelings, the intentions, the unspoken needs. Like when someone says, I'm fine, but everything about their body language screams otherwise.
Yeah, slumped shoulders, no eye contact.
A socially aware person picks up on that mismatch.
And attunement requires really being present, doesn't it? Quieting your own mental chatter.
Totally. Full presence, not just physically there, but mentally and emotionally engaged. Noticing those tiny shifts, facial expressions, posture, tone, little clues.
And there's brain chemistry involved here, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Feeling seen and understood. That often releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Makes you feel safe, connected.
And feeling ignored.
That can trigger cortisol, the stress hormone, makes people put up emotional walls.
You can see how crucial that is in tense moments.
Yeah.
A parent sensing a kid's fear, a manager noticing someone's disengaged.
Right. Those are moments where attunement can really make a difference, prevent blow-ups, build stronger bonds. But Goleman also warns about multitasking.
The modern curse.
It kills attunement. When you're checking your phone, thinking about your reply instead of listening, you're just eroding that connection. Giving someone your full attention is almost like a superpower these days.
It really is. Okay, so we're connecting emotionally, subtly, and there's actual chemistry happening underneath it all.
Absolutely. There's a whole neurochemical dance going on during social interactions. It influences connection, trust, bonding.
Like oxytocin, the bonding hormone you mentioned.
Exactly. Oxytocin surges during moments of trust, affection, empathy, a mother nursing, friends sharing secrets, holding hands. It creates feelings of safety, closeness.
And it's not just oxytocin, right?
No, dopamine, the reward chemical, gets triggered too. When you feel understood, appreciated, that positive social interaction feels good, it reinforces the connection.
But negative interactions have a chemical effect too.
Definitely. Cortisol, the stress hormone, kicks in during arguments, rejection, feeling disconnected, and too much cortisol clouds judgment, makes us defensive, damages trust.
Wow. It's like our nervous systems can even sync up.
Yeah, that's called physiological resonance. In close relationships, partners' heart rates, even breathing can sometimes synchronize. It's wild. It suggests that soothing someone else can actually help regulate our own system too.
So healthy environments literally bathe our brains in good chemicals.
Pretty much. Supportive workplaces, loving homes. People thrive because they're getting more oxytocin and dopamine, less cortisol.
It really makes you think about the emotional climate we create in our interactions.
Exactly. Understanding this chemistry empowers us. A warm tone, a genuine compliment, really listening, these small things have a tangible impact on brain chemistry with ripple effects.
This all sounds quite positive, but Goleman talks about a darker side too, right? Social intelligence used for less good purposes.
Yeah, that's a really important reality check. Social intelligence is a powerful tool, and like any tool, it has a shadow side. It can be used for manipulation.
How so?
Goleman talks about social predators. These are people with high cognitive empathy. They can read others really well, but they lack empathic concern. They don't care about the other person's well-being.
So they understand people's
Or
vulnerabilities.
exploit them. Think of a charismatic con artist using charm and understanding to gain trust, then taking advantage. Or a toxic coworker who pretends to care while spreading rumors.
That's pretty chilly.
They navigate social situations using manipulation, not genuine connection. Goleman calls it Machiavellian intelligence, using social dynamics strategically for personal gain without regard for others. It's cold, calculating.
And we see this in leadership sometimes.
Unfortunately, yes. Narcissistic leadership styles can emerge, where influence is used for self-promotion, not the group's good. It might bring short-term results, but often leaves emotional damage behind.
Emotional contagion can go wrong too.
Definitely. Negative emotions like fear or anger can spread like wildfire through a group, becoming destructive.
So social intelligence is neutral, really. It depends how it's used.
Exactly. Goleman urges us to be alert, trust our gut if something feels off, and critically, to anchor our own social intelligence in ethics and real empathy.
Okay, let's shift to the workplace. Clearly a huge arena for social intelligence.
Oh, absolutely. The modern workplace runs on our social brain. Goldman argues success for individuals, teams, whole companies often depends more on managing relationships and emotions than just technical skills.
Every little interaction adds up to the culture.
Every single one. A manager's tone, a colleague's expression, a chat by the coffee machine. It all shapes the emotional climate.
And leaders set that tone, right? Like
Yeah.
emotional thermostats.
That's a perfect analogy. A leader's mood is contagious, calm under pressure. That fosters stability. Stressed and reactive. That spreads anxiety. Socially intelligent leaders consistently outperform others.
Why is that?
They build trust, foster loyalty, they're attuned to team dynamics, they spot morale issues early, they communicate better.
But they still have to make tough calls, give feedback.
Of course, it's not about being soft. It's about handling those difficult things with skill, preserving dignity and connection. It's also about creating psychological safety.
Meaning,
An environment where people feel safe to speak up, take risks, share ideas without fear of being shot down. That's crucial for innovation and performance.
Goldman contrasts resonant and dissonant leadership.
Yeah. Resonant leaders amplify harmony, respect. Dissonant leaders create tension, confusion. Big difference in outcome.
So emotional health isn't just HR fluff. It's a business strategy.
Totally. Forward-thinking companies get this.
Yeah.
And in the age of AI, our human capacity for social intelligence collaboration, trust, leading with heart and head, that's our key advantage.
Let's turn to maybe the most fundamental connections. Love and attachment. Social intelligence must be foundational here.
Absolutely profound. Our earliest interactions literally shape our capacity for connection later on. That baby gazing at a caregiver, mimicking expressions, that's laying down neurological blueprints for future relationships.
Attachment theory comes in here.
Yes. The quality of those early bonds shapes our ability to trust, love, form stable relationships. Secure, anxious, avoidant attachment styles often stem from this.
Secure being trusting, anxious fearing abandonment, avoidant resisting closeness.
Broadly, yes. But crucially, these aren't set in stone. Awareness, effort, positive experiences, especially using social intelligence, can help people evolve their patterns.
So how does social intelligence nurture loving relationships specifically?
It's built on deep emotional attunement, being present, responsive to your partner's cues, sensitive to their inner world.
Active listening, validating feelings.
Exactly, offering comfort, support that creates safety, bonding. And again, oxytocin gets released, reinforcing that trust and closeness. There's even that physiological synchrony, heart rates, breathing aligning.
Like being on the same wavelength, literally.
Kind of. But relationships have bumps. Misattunement happens feeling unheard, misunderstood. That triggers stress, erodes trust.
And repair requires.
Vulnerability, honest communication about needs and feelings, empathy, a willingness to understand and grow together. Goldman reminds us love is often in the small, consistent acts of emotional presence.
We talked about the empathy spectrum earlier. Maybe we should revisit that quickly. Think about navigating all these different social contexts.
Good idea. Yeah, it's vital to remember empathy has those layers. Cognitive empathy, understanding perspective.
Stepping into their shoes mentally.
Right. Emotional empathy, feeling with them, that resonance, and empathic concern, being moved to help.
And social intelligence is about balancing these.
Exactly. Too much emotional empathy without boundaries. Burnout. High cognitive empathy without concern. Potential manipulation.
So it's about awareness and development.
Yes. Knowing where you lean on the spectrum and actively cultivating all three, through mindful listening, observing nonverbals, asking sincere questions, empathy is learnable.
And expanding, it seems like a social necessity now.
Absolutely. Building bridges, recognizing our shared humanity, it's crucial.
We're constantly exchanging feedback in social settings, aren't we? That seems powerful too.
Incredibly powerful. We're social learners from birth, constantly interpreting reactions to figure out our place, shape our behavior, build our self-image.
And feedback hits us emotionally, biologically.
Well, yeah. Positive feedback, praise, appreciation releases dopamine, serotonin, feels good, builds confidence.
But negative feedback, criticism, exclusion.
That can activate the same brain regions as physical pain, seriously. That's why rejection, embarrassment, loneliness hurt so intensely.
Wow, so how feedback is given is critical.
Absolutely. Constructive feedback delivered with care and empathy, wanting to help someone grow. Invaluable. Builds trust. But harsh, dismissive feedback. Deeply damaging. Shuts down learning, harms relationships.
Huge implications for leaders, teachers.
Definitely. The best ones are like emotionally attuned coaches. Feedback is honest but encouraging, uplifting, not diminishing. Goleman also mentions social baseline theory.
What's that?
Basically, our brains expect social support. Feeling connected makes challenges feel less threatening, more manageable.
And feedback isn't always verbal, is it?
None at all. Body language, eye contact, tone. They send powerful messages of approval or disapproval. We need way more awareness of the feedback we're sending and how we process what we receive.
Every interaction is a chance to build up or tear down.
Pretty much. Thoughtful feedback can be like a mirror, showing potential, inspiring growth.
These skills clearly don't just appear in adulthood. It starts in childhood.
Absolutely right. Social intelligence is learned and nurtured from day one through relationships and guidance. Responsive, attuned caregiving is critical. It builds secure attachment, lays down those neural pathways for empathy.
So what can parents and educators actually do to cultivate this?
Goleman points to several key things. Modeling is huge. Kids learn by watching, so showing kindness, listening, respect is crucial.
Makes sense.
Teaching emotional vocabulary, helping kids name and understand feelings, theirs and others. Essential building block.
Perspective taking, too.
Yes, through stories, role-playing, discussions, fostering cognitive empathy, promoting conflict resolution skills, teaching negotiation, compromise, not just solving it for them.
Letting them practice.
Exactly. Providing opportunities for social interaction, unstructured play, and emotional coaching, validating their feelings, even tough ones, and helping them manage those feelings constructively.
But we also need to avoid overscheduling them. Give them space.
Yes. Too much pressure can stifle this. Social intelligence often blossoms in supportive, less structured environments where kids can explore, navigate, learn at their own pace. The goal is resilient, compassionate, socially competent adults.
Now, social cues aren't universal, are they? Culture must shape all this significantly.
Hugely. Social intelligence is deeply tied to culture. Our understanding of cues, emotions, relationship norms, it's all shaped by our cultural background.
Like eye contact, personal space.
Exactly. Gestures, how emotions are expressed and interpreted. These unspoken rules vary dramatically across cultures.
So there's a hidden cultural language we need to learn.
Pretty much. That's where cultural intelligence, or CQ, comes in. It's the ability to navigate diverse cultural contexts with sensitivity and respect, adapting behavior, avoiding misunderstanding.
Culture complicates empathy, too.
Definitely. What's appropriate emotional expression varies. This is huge in our globalized world, especially at work.
Teams from everywhere.
Right. Misunderstandings happen easily without cultural sensitivity. Global leaders need cultural competence and emotional intelligence. Knowing how feedback is given received in different cultures is vital.
And cultures evolve, so we need to keep learning.
Constant learning, flexibility. It requires open-mindedness, humility, a willingness to learn from others.
We've talked a lot about understanding others, but managing our own internal world seems just as critical for social intelligence.
Absolutely a cornerstone. Emotional self-regulation. How we recognize, understand, and channel our own emotions directly impacts our interactions, decisions, relationships.
Without it, strong feelings can lead to impulsive reactions.
Exactly. Damaging connections, escalating conflict, hindering empathy.
So it's not about suppressing emotions.
No, not at all. It's about recognizing them, understanding triggers, and finding constructive ways to channel them appropriately for the situation, not letting them hijack you.
Linked to the prefrontal cortex, impulse control.
Yes, that's the brain region involved. Goleman suggests strategies like mindfulness, reframing negative thoughts, breathing techniques, positive self-talk.
And better self-regulation improves empathy.
Definitely. It helps us listen better, respond more sensitively, navigate challenges more effectively. Poor self-regulation underlies many social difficulties, but the good news is it's a skill you can develop. It's about emotional mastery, using feelings as information, not being controlled by them.
The neurobiology behind all this is just fascinating. We keep touching on it.
Yeah, understanding the brain stuff really grounds why connection is so fundamental. Goleman talks about the social brain network, interconnected regions processing social info.
Prefrontal cortex, amygdala, insula.
Right. Higher reasoning, social emotions like trust and fear, awareness of internal states, empathy, they all work together. And mirror neurons, creating that resonance.
And the interplay between emotion centers and the rational brain.
Key for regulating social responses. And neuroplasticity means our brains change. Positive interactions strengthen social intelligence circuits. Stress and isolation can impair them.
Oxytocin again for bonding and trust.
It just underscores how deeply biological our social nature is. Our social lives are physically wired into our brains.
Which brings us to technology today. How does that fit in?
Yes. Technology. It's a double-edged sword for social intelligence, really.
Opportunities and challenges.
Exactly. Digital platforms connect us globally, offer new ways to share, build community. That's huge.
Yeah.
But face-to-face interaction is still irreplaceable for deep emotional understanding, reading subtle cues, building robust relationships. Online communication lacks nuance.
Easy misunderstandings, less empathy.
Yeah, and social media can encourage performative stuff over authentic connection, fuel social comparison.
Plus concerns about screen time, especially for kids developing skills.
Big concern. Excessive screen time replacing real-world interaction can potentially impair developing skills like reading nonverbals, conversation flow, navigating dynamics in person.
And multitasking with devices during interactions.
Reduces capacity for empathy and regulation. So technology isn't inherently bad, but how we use it is crucial. We need digital emotional literacy, mindfulness online, and actively prioritizing in-person connection.
Finding that balance, being intentional.
Precisely. Adapting timeless skills to new mediums while safeguarding empathy, presence, trust, things that thrive face-to-face.
Trust feels like the absolute foundation, and social intelligence seems key to building it.
It's the bedrock, absolutely. Personal, professional, all meaningful relationships rely on it. And yes, SI is pivotal. Trust isn't given, it's earned through consistency, honesty, empathy.
Socially intelligent people read others better, respond more authentically.
Generally, yes. That fosters safety, predictability, emotional attunement, really tuning in is crucial for building trust.
So concrete actions, consistency, transparency.
Yes. Consistency in words and actions. Transparency, sharing appropriately. Active listening, showing you value their perspective. Empathy, warmth, understanding, validation. Even nonverbals, eye contact, open posture.
And trust is fragile.
Very. Easy to damage, hard to rebuild, takes patience, consistent positive action. And in leadership, trust is non-negotiable for motivation, collaboration.
Conflict is inevitable too. How does social intelligence help us navigate that constructively?
Right, conflict happens. But SI gives us skills to handle it better. It's about understanding the underlying emotions and needs, not just the surface disagreement.
Approaching with curiosity and empathy.
Exactly. Seeking root causes, not just winning. Key SI skills here are active listening, emotional regulation, managing your reaction, perspective taking, collaborative problem solving, win-win, and clear, respectful communication.
De-escalation techniques too.
Vital. Knowing when to step back, let things cool down. Well-managed conflict can actually strengthen relationships. Huge skill in organizations and leadership.
We keep coming back to leadership. It really seems fundamental there.
It is. Effective leadership today is about emotional connection. SI isn't optional. It's vital for inspiring, motivating, guiding.
Reading dynamics, building trust, fostering positive cultures.
All of it. Key competencies are empathy, influence, social skills, self-regulation, motivating others. Leaders lacking SI rely on authority. Those with it build engagement, get better results. In complex environments, it's a necessity.
This has been so insightful. The great thing is these are skills we can develop. Where does someone listening even start if they want to boost their SI?
That is the empowering part. It's learnable. Goleman suggests starting with self-awareness, journaling, mindfulness, asking for feedback.
Okay.
Practice empathy. Actively listen without judgment. Watch nonverbals. Improve emotional regulation. Recognize triggers. Use breathing, reframing. Enhance communication, clear expression, better listening.
Build social awareness.
Yeah. Observe group dynamics, unspoken signals. Foster positive relationships, show appreciation, be reliable. Seek feedback and reflect on interactions. Engage in diverse social settings to broaden perspective.
It's a lifelong journey.
Absolutely. But every step enriches relationships, boosts well-being, and contributes positively.
And the link between social connection and mental health is huge too.
Incredibly deep. Strong connections protect against stress, anxiety, depression. Provide resources, belonging. Low SI risks isolation, loneliness, low self-esteem, anxiety.
Therapy leverages SI principles.
Fundamentally. And the mind-body connection means social support impacts physical health, too. Nurturing wellness involves cultivating socially intelligent habits and connections.
Okay, just to quickly recap some key areas again.
Right. Leadership needs SI for influence, safety. Cultural intelligence is vital globally. Parenting uses SI to raise resilient kids. Technology needs mindful use to avoid eroding empathy.
And on a deeper level.
There's that spiritual dimension: compassion, forgiveness, humility, connecting to purpose, fulfillment, unity.
Looking ahead, SI seems more critical than ever.
Definitely. In our complex, interconnected yet fragmented world, it's paramount. We have the digital paradox: connected yet isolated, need to balance tech with real connection.
Integrating social-emotional learning in schools.
Crucial. The workplace increasingly values these skills, and globally, SI is imperative for tackling shared challenges, fostering cooperation. Developing SI isn't just personal, it helps build a more emotionally intelligent society.
So bringing it all together for you listening. The big takeaway is that social intelligence built on empathy, attunement, communication isn't just a nice trait, it's fundamental for well-being, success, deep connection. As you go about your day, maybe think about how these ideas resonate in your own life, your relationships, work, personal growth.
And here's a final thought to leave you with. In this complex, interconnected world, maybe our ability to truly understand and connect with each other emotionally is the most vital intelligence of all. What's one small, intentional step you could take today to deepen your own social intelligence and enrich your connections?